This is a kindergarten northwest of Kiev, Ukraine, which was destroyed at the beginning of the Russian invasion in spring 2022. The space was recorded by Yaro, a Ukrainian photographer, who used an app on his phone to 3D scan the environment. The software developer Polycam has offered its app for free in Ukraine, mainly so that people can digitally capture their national identity in form of cultural objects and places before they get destroyed. The 3D scanning process converts single images into a visual meta-image. This technique is called photogrammetry, and in the context of warfare has already been used 100 years ago, at the beginning of the 20th century. During World War I, the German Wehrmacht was already stitching together aerial photographs of surveillance flights into so-called orthophotos to get a spatial overview of enemy positions. During the Second World War, it was mainly the Allies who sent reconnaissance planes over the attack zones directly after the mass bombings of German cities in order to evaluate the damage. Even today, these orthophotos help Germany to locate and defuse unexploded bombs from the Second World War that are still in the ground of German cities. Many of the individual images overlap and capture the same section from two different perspectives. With a stereoscope, it is possible to analyze the images in 3D. Modern, computer-based photogrammetry relies on more than two images of the same object to create a three-dimensional model. Especially for larger areas of land and objects such as buildings, drones are used for this purpose. The mass of drone footage coming out of Ukraine exceeds that from other war zones. The proliferation of commercial drones has led to the increasing use of imagery taken by both professionals and amateurs to show the scale of destruction in areas that have been under attack. By being published on various video and news platforms, the clips spread almost in real time and are thus available to people all over the world shortly after the footage has been recorded. Visually, the recordings are similar. Slow and constant filming of a building or a landscape from different angles. If a video shows an object from many different angles, a digital model of it can be created with the help of photogrammetry software. Since February, more and more of these models that use public videos as a basis have been uploaded to different 3D platforms. Most of them are destroyed objects, vehicles, buildings, or landscapes. Everyone with a computer and free photogrammetry software can participate in rendering available videos into three-dimensional environments, turning digital space making into a civic-led practice of preservation and creation. Unlike normal photos or videos, spatial records do not tie the viewer's perspective to that of the person who captured a scene with a camera. Instead, they allow for free navigation. This also reduces the disconnection between viewer and object inherent in two-dimensional images. In a journalistic context, that opens up new ways of narrating information. Some news platforms have already experimented with photogrammetry, creating settings that users can actively explore. It is a challenge to guide the reader experience, as the flow of information is not inherently linear. But it's also an opportunity to think about new ways that allow readers to have more influence on how they consume information and what that might mean for combining it with traditional news forms. With the help of geo-platforms like OpenStreetMap, Google Earth, or Bing Maps, the records can be spatially embedded and contextualized. In the process, the direct location of a place or scene is coupled with real coordinates, connecting digital point clouds to the physical world. This allows for a better geographic overview and reduces the abstraction that comes from being removed from the real-world context. In this hangar, the largest aircraft in the world, the AN-225, was destroyed by heavy fire. The quality of the model is so good that viewers can immerse themselves in the site as if they were there. For people who have been at the place, the model can be a helpful support to go back to the space of the event and recall it in as much detail as possible. It is also possible to analyze whether a statement could have taken place as claimed, for instance, whether a person had a clear field of fire at a particular spot. Of course, a 3D model should never be used as the sole evidence to support a statement, and even less so if the author is not a professional, trustworthy source. But in making a scenario tangible, it can be an important building block for a better understanding of past events, especially for people who have not been there. In open source investigation, 3D models have been helping for several years to spatially analyze events and make them comprehensible. Often these models were created from scratch on the computer, using architecture or 3D building software without incorporating photogrammetry into the process, which makes them less accurate and not suitable for an immersive experience. This makes open source photogrammetric models so exceptional. Almost anyone can participate in capturing a space of an event as a digital replica, enabling a sense of immersion that surpasses other forms of imaging. The immersive quality of spatial photographs can also be beneficial for individuals who have had a traumatic experience in a particular space, allowing them to travel back in time. Under professional guidance, they can address their trauma and reprocess it in a safe setting. Scientists in West Holland are researching on using semi-immersive environments in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, so-called 3MDR therapy. Patients are confronted with events of the past, but retain power over how far they want to approach the trauma through a virtual environment. According to these experts, it would be very helpful if patients had the possibility to take a different perspective in order to perceive what happened from another point of view and to be able to re-evaluate the scenario. The environment can be animated, objects erased or added. Personal photographs, for instance, are valuable in creating a stronger emotional connection to the scenario. Other external stimuli help to focus the patient's attention on something different at the right moment, supporting the process of reflection. For more information, visit spatialarchiveofwarfare.com.